Narendra Modi and Donald Trump, India's Prime Minister and the American President, two leaders who are supposedly the best of friends. Whenever they've met in the past, optics have been at an all-time high and their meetings are also much talked about. Visuals of hugs, camaraderie, praise for the other are all over social media always. Recently, that equation doesn't look to be the same. A bit of rough patch perhaps, all thanks to the India-Pakistan conflict and the ceasefire that followed. Trump has repeatedly claimed to have brokered peace between the two countries. He claims to have told both sides that let's trade instead of attacking each other. India, of course, has denied all charges and claims made by Trump. But it's in that background that the two leaders officially spoke today, for the first time since Operation Sindoor. It also came hours before Washington DC gives a red carpet welcome to the Army Chief of Pakistan. So what did Modi and Trump talk about? Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. So India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to American President Donald Trump. Now if you look at it in the broader context of the world, you would know that a lot is happening already. Two wars have been raging on for months now. One is between Russia and Ukraine since February 2022 and the other between Israel and Hamas since October 2023. A few days back, a third one was added to the list. Israel versus Iran. That war is on as we speak. Both sides are raining missiles on the other's capital cities. More than 200 people have been killed in Iran so far. In Israel, the casualty is far lesser at the moment. But as things stand, de-escalation doesn't seem to be on the table for at least in the immediate future. Amidst this, the focus shifted to Canada. G7 of the group of 7 nations met yesterday and the day before that. Canada, France, the United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, Italy, and the European Union. These are the 7 members, 7+1 of the G7. India was among the observers there and Prime Minister Modi too attended this event in Canada. This would have marked the first time that Prime Minister Modi would have met American President Donald Trump face to face post Operation Sindoor and the India-Pakistan conflict. But Trump headed back before that meeting could take place. He said that he had some important work back home and reportedly it was around the Israel-Iran war. And we've seen his tweets since he came back to Washington from the G7, almost threatening Iran to surrender. His tweets were on that line, saying things like he knows where Iran's supreme leader is, but he won't kill him just yet. So all of that is happening on that front. But let's come back to Modi and Trump. Now, like I said, this was their first proper official conversation since India's Operation Sindoor. Under the operation, Indian armed forces struck 9 terror sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, killing several terrorists. This morning, India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri put out a statement. He said the two leaders spoke over a phone call for about 35 minutes. According to the Indian side, this call was initiated from Donald Trump's end. So what was discussed between the two? Here are some points regarding that conversation. First, India conveyed to America that New Delhi will respond to Pakistan's bullet with a bullet. Modi said that terrorism is now seen as a war and not a proxy war. Modi conveyed to Trump that Operation Sindoor has not concluded. And second, and this is the significant point, Modi also made it clear to Trump that India has not and will never accept mediation vis-a-vis Pakistan. Now, as far as New Delhi is concerned, their version is clear. The 4-day conflict was between India and Pakistan alone. Military action was halted after Pakistan reached out to India. Pakistani Director General of Military Operations spoke to his Indian counterpart. The two agreed to de-escalate and that's how things ended. Now, in today's call between the two leaders, India said that Modi has told Trump that nowhere was United States and their mediation in the picture. Modi added that India-US trade deal or mediation by the US, as far as this conflict was concerned, was not discussed at any point during this conflict. Remember, it was Donald Trump who was the first to announce that India and Pakistan have reached a ceasefire. It was entirely out of the blue at the time. Once Trump said that the two sides de-escalated, India and Pakistan made their respective announcements regarding the ceasefire as well. While Pakistan has welcomed American intervention and thanked Donald Trump for the mediation, India has always rejected such claims. Now, the fourth point from this call, it's a more broad one. This is where Prime Minister Modi held a detailed discussion on Operation Sindoor. He briefed the American president about it. He told Trump that India has conveyed to the entire world its determination to take action against terrorism. This was, of course, in reference to the multi-party delegations that went to 32 countries last month, highlighting India's response. Vikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary, said that Trump expressed his support for India's fight against terrorism. And lastly, as per the Indian version, Trump made a request to Prime Minister Modi on this phone call. Trump asked PM Modi if he could stop over in the US on his way back from Canada from the G7 summit. Prime Minister Modi, however, declined it, saying he had pre-scheduled engagements.
राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने प्रधानमंत्री मोदी से पूछा कि क्या वे कनाडा से वापसी में अमेरिका रुक कर जा सकते हैं। पूर्व निर्धारित कार्यक्रमों के कारण प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने अपनी असमर्थता व्यक्त की। दोनों लीडर्स ने तब तय किया कि वे निकट भविष्य में मिलने का प्रयास करेंगे। क्वाड की अगली बैठक के लिए प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को भारत यात्रा का निमंत्रण दिया। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने निमंत्रण स्वीकार करते हुए कहा कि वे भारत आने के लिए उत्सुक हैं।
Now, as is the case with such phone calls or meetings, both sides issue a statement, both countries issue a statement. So far, we just have the Indian statement. White House has not officially responded as we record this video on Wednesday evening. But we'll keep tracking that space for you as well, because that will give us an idea of how the Americans have seen this phone call, particularly with regards to the ceasefire and the content that was discussed in this meeting. For the record, Trump has claimed credit for brokering a ceasefire between India and Pakistan about 13 to 14 times now. Their handout, that is the American handout, would give us an answer as to what Trump had to say about all of this. Now, this phone call comes hours before White House hosts Pakistani Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir, the same man whose controversial speech was one of the triggers for the Pahalgam attack in Jammu and Kashmir. There were reports that Asim Munir would be the chief guest at the American Army Day Parade a few days back, but that report was rejected by Washington. But now you do have Asim Munir coming to America, not for a parade, but on the invitation of the American president himself. The two, that is Asim Munir and Donald Trump, will have a closed-door lunch at the White House in some time. The agenda of that lunch and that meeting is not disclosed. But this is significant. It is the first such direct engagement between American president and the Pakistani army chief in at least 15 years. Over the years, there have been a handful of such engagements. You start with Field Marshal Ayub Khan, who had met then US President John F. Kennedy in Washington in 1961. Then you had General Zia-ul Haq meeting Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan, presidents of US at the time. And then you had General Pervez Musharraf meeting George Bush. Now, the common thread among the three is that all these meetings took place when the army was in charge of Pakistan. Pakistani generals overthrew civilian government, staged a coup and took charge. So that was the common thread, that all three Pakistani generals were leaders of Pakistan at the time. As for Donald Trump, during his first term, he had met the then Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa. That was in the month of July 2019 when Prime Minister Imran Khan of Pakistan visited Washington, D.C. That Trump is now hosting the Army Chief instead of the civilian government also sends out a message as to where the Americans think that Pakistan's actual center of power is. And that is not Shehbaz Sharif, that is the Pakistani army led by Field Marshal Asim Munir. The meeting comes right when the Iran-Israel war is escalating. Pakistan, on record, has sided with Iran. On Sunday, their defense minister Khwaja Asif said that all Muslim countries must unite against Israeli aggression. Islamabad said Israeli strikes were a brazen violation of Iran's sovereignty and an unjustified and illegitimate aggression. The other day, a senior Iranian military official claimed that Pakistan might launch a nuclear attack on Israel if Israel uses nuclear weapons first. Pakistan, though, has said that this is fake news. But in his own speech in Washington, D.C., Field Marshal Asim Munir said his country, that is Pakistan, stood with Iran while hoping for the conflict to end soon. Now, experts say that Washington, which is clearly backing Israel to the hilt at the moment, is likely seeking Pakistan's support and cooperation in this war in West Asia, and that America wants to have Pakistan on their side. Now, how India looks at this meeting between Munir and Trump is something that will be very interesting to watch in the days and weeks to follow. That's all we have for this report, though. Thanks for watching.